Hello, you wonderful people, and welcome to another episode of Crime Centric. This being the show where I talk about crime dramas that I watch. For today's episode, I'm going to talk about the latest episode of Ray Donovan. Another great episode with a lot of stuff that went down in this episode, so let's break it down bit by bit. Obviously, one side you got Mickey and Daryl. That was kind of just an interesting turn of events this episode, just dealing with this whole penis situation. That was kind of interesting. Even at one point telling the doc, hey, it's never going to be this big again, so hop on it, and listing all those different rip off Viagra pills and stuff like that. One of them ended up being Bob the Builder. I was wondering how that was going to play into the episode, because I think that's the title of the episode, so I just thought that was kind of interesting. I was like, oh yeah, and they're just laughing about it and everything, and he's trying to get it to go down the entire time, to the point he just had to go to the hospital to get it taken care of. While at the same time, the whole situation with Jay unfolds. Daryl gets recorded bringing up the whole conversation. And I'm because it's a series of events of everything messing up. It all ultimately this all comes down to back to Jay, but ultimately it comes down to Mickey, because Mickey the one that pushed him. I was saying in the last episode, it's Mickey kept pushing and pushing and pushing. Just because he was so to me, I always defended it as being he's unreasonable, sure, but I feel at least one angle of it, I feel it's Mickey's story, so I can understand not just his story, but his legit story, his life. Obviously, certain aspects of it is going to be hyperbolized and stuff like that to make himself seem better, more of a criminal with a heart of gold or something like that, make him in a more positive light, sure, but it's still his story, so there I give him the benefit of the doubt. But the fact of the matter is, he kept pushing, oh, you help me out the script, or them tape's gonna come out. It's oh, you idiot, and now you put yourself, and not just you, your entire family in this situation. Daryl got recorded saying what he did to Jay, and then even to the point Mickey's oh, you ain't wearing a wire, are you? Come here, son. And just patting him on the back. He's I told you I ain't wearing a wire. Which part of me, the way he was walking away, I was the look on Daryl's face made me go, is he wearing a wire? Or at the very least, is he contemplating it? Because they've always had a love-hate relationship. And really quickly, since I forgot to mention this earlier, because the moment that whole penis situation was happening early in the episode, I was you don't think, I was that's kind of a weird conversation to be having, just so candidly about oh yeah, oh, those pills, I think that's such an awkward conversation to be having with your dad. But then again, it's Mickey and all the drugs and prostitute Mickey kind of gets caught up with. It's kind of okay, it's Mickey once again, so I guess that makes it a little less weird and awkward. Nevertheless, I just feel bad for Daryl, because Mickey's oh, you're not going to testify against me, because that'd be messed up. I wouldn't do that. And I'm dude, to be fair, Mickey, you put him in this situation. It's you do nothing but make bad decision after bad decision, and it didn't even come up this episode. I don't think they're even thinking about it. But let's not forget where you took Jay's sensei, whose body's also there, Frank's, and it's I don't think they're thinking about that. Maybe the fact of the matter is their bodies are maybe they didn't pick the exact same location to dump the bodies, but still, nevertheless, it's it's there, so I don't know, we'll just have to see. But I think I wonder, is there going to be a point? The thing I was bringing up earlier about the relationship and stuff, there's ups and downs even throughout the episode. So it's I wonder, will Daryl ultimately decide to do it? Because really, the DA doesn't want him. He wants Mickey. But then, if he goes after Mickey, I get the feeling he's going to try and take down the rest of the Donovans too. So there's that. Another side of the episode dealt with Bridget and the whole Smitty situation. She ends up seeing a doctor, played by Kim Raver. Basically, Bridget it's kind of interesting, because Bridget kind of pulls a Donovan move of her own, where she's waiting in the doctor's room for her. And it's because, and Bridget says it herself, she's I can't lose another person. She's gotten attached to Smitty, because ultimately, everything that happened is her family's fault. She gets why her dad did it, but her dad still did a crappy thing, getting Smitty sick. And now it's this whole situation of she can't lose someone else. She already lost her mom. She can't lose someone else that she's gotten close to over the course of all of this. So ultimately, at the end of the episode, we see her get arrested, which is food. That's all. What this episode is showing you, just how far the Donovan family is falling apart. Not everyone's kind of falling apart, some aspects, but it's just they said, this is the season of them. Like I said, they've had hardships in the past, but I brought it up in past episodes. This is the season of the Donovan family falling apart, and it's I don't 100% see a way them bouncing back from this, because one key component in that was Abby, and now she's gone. She's kind of her death was kind of the catalyst that kind of broke the camel's back into, essentially, so I'm curious to see what goes down with that Bridget situation. Part of my brain is wondering like, obviously she's saying like, okay, you have to go through the proper channels and stuff like that for Smitty to be admitted. Like, obviously, like certain like requisites are needed. Like, for instance, the reason why he wasn't part of the trial in the first place is because he was sick. But then there's a part of my brain that's like, like more cynical side of me that's kind of like, could be another reason why she doesn't want to do this surgery is because it actually doesn't work. Even that lady Emily, could it be like some like big publicity thing of like she wasn't actually sick to begin with? They faked her sickness and make it like, oh, because granted, we haven't seen the other people that were a part of the trial. Only Emily was the success that we know of. Not so maybe it's something like that. Maybe Emily has a placebo situation. Because I was thinking what was going to happen is that we end up finding out like, Bridget goes there and tries to talk to her and everything, and then finds out like, oh, Emily actually got sick again. It wasn't actually a good surgery. That maybe there were actually more problems than benefits for it or something like that. Like, it cured this one thing and put her in remission, but it brought up all these other problems. So Smitty's better off in his own situation. Abby is better off in her own situation because she got to choose her own way. So there's that part of my brain. Like I said, the cynical side of my brain, but it seems like for now, it seems like it might be on the up and up. We'll just kind of have to wait to see, like, in regards of what that means. But it's like basically at this point, pretty much every one of the Donovans is a criminal now. I think the only one who hasn't gone to jail now at this point is Connor. Oh my God, that's crazy when you think about it. It's like that family was born to be criminals, like from top to bottom. I mean, to be fair with their upbringing, Mickey and everything, it's like, well, it's kind of bound to happen. And Bridget, with kind of her dysfunctional family and what Ray does, it's kind of bound to happen. And speaking of Ray, he gets brought in after the whole Natalie situation. I figured as much that there was no like, I was hoping on everything. I was like, oh, please tell me nope, she's not. I know there was like this slim part of my brain that was still hoping she would be. Because like I think I brought it up last episode. There were just certain things I remember vaguely seeing from the trailer that I don't remember those scenes popping up. So not unless there's something that pop up like much like, like at the end of the season that we get to see like some cutout bits of like some of the time they spent together, something like that. Or maybe that was just kind of flavored stuff. Or I could be completely remembering the trailer wrong. That's a strong possibility because I've got terrible memory and stuff like that, as I've mentioned many times before. So Ray gets arrested, more so brought in for questioning. He brings Doug's name into the whole equation because Doug, that she was pregnant with Doug's baby. And then, which Sam didn't want him to do that because there's the whole situation around Doug hiring Vicky last episode to steal all that stuff from Sam, basically put himself in a powerful position, because it's kind of a middle finger to Sam because Sam let him go because of the whole Ray and Natalie situation. Natalie wasn't going to come back to work unless Doug was removed from the situation, and he was, because Sam was just like, okay, Ray, this is it, okay, just because we're good and stuff like that. So this is kind of his middle finger to her. He wants all of her company, or he's going to essentially blackmailing her. But then she kind of settled on half. But the moment Ray kind of turned on Doug, it kind of screwed over. Immediately in my brain, I was like, oh my God, Ray's dead. He's a dead man. Because the last person who screwed her over was Tom. We saw how his situation came about, which interestingly enough, Doug brought it up. Like, he's like, I know that you killed Tom. I know exactly what guy you paid to do it to. So immediately in my brain, the entire episode, I'm like, someone's going to come up and try and attack Ray, aren't they? Like, they go, I don't know what it is, especially because he's got a broken arm this episode and everything too. So I was like, I figured he's going to be in, maybe that's something we'll kind of deal with going forward. But it's like, because for right now, he's still on Sam's good side. But the moment you get on Sam's bad side, she is not one to be trifled with. I can only assume, and maybe I brought this up last episode, I don't remember. Like, obviously we know he hired Vicky, but maybe he's the one that kind of broke the news about Natalie too, because it's like, oh, like, it kind of put her in a spotlight and everything because of the whole situation and what she did, like trying to mess with his job and everything, won't like get rid of the child that they're having and stuff like that. Like, I think not unless he followed Ray or something like that, for him to know about that place. I get the feeling like, because Sam knows about a lot of Ray's place because she shows up at the gym. So maybe there's something there where Doug has his own connections and he ended up finding out about where Ray lives. And then where Ray lives, and he sent her husband there. So we ended up seeing like how the whole situation unfolded. Well, not the entire situation. We saw like Natalie die, which I can only assume there's still the possibility that like someone else was there and then they pushed him out, to cover their tracks. So like there could be like a lot more to this than just him killing Natalie and then killing himself, which, like I said, sucks, but I legitimately didn't think her story was going to end like that. That completely caught me by surprise last episode, but as I mentioned then, so To the point, like I said, like Sam is not willing to let her go, like Ray go. Ray's like, no, you got your situation, I got mine. I'm not about to deal with this anymore. I'm done. Well, she's like, no, you're not done. I heard you do a job and you're going to do it. Because now she's like, okay, Landry's become too much an issue because now he wants all my stuff, want all of my company. Nah, bump that. I need you to take care of him. So Ray doesn't want to do it, but she wants him to. And Sam is not the type of person she doesn't like not getting what she wants. Once again, using Tom as an example. And so it's not, like I said, Ray's in a rock and a hard place. I'm sure on some level he's probably going to want Doug taken care of because I'm sure Doug had a lot to do with what happened in Natalie. I'm sure of it. It just happens to be a coincidence because now, like, his biggest problem just happens to disappear, like Natalie and the baby. So he just seems like a slime ball anyway, just the way he's handled himself so far. Kind of a twist I wasn't expecting when it's Garrett. I thought he was just going to be like a background guy that, like, in between dude that Ray talked to. But it's like, no, he kind of has his own, like, role in this season too as a bad guy. So, which kind of begs the question: you don't think Tom and Vicky were working for him the entire time, do you? Or has Vicky always been working with Doug secretly? Did he just need some leverage against her anyway? Like around the time, because like Tom was doing it on his own and he gave the evidence to Ray, but then Vicky stole it back. So that means at the very least then she was definitely working for Doug that entire time. So, because I was wondering about that. I kind of forgot that she had done that before. So this time of the evidence, getting the evidence from her stepson, Sam's stepson George, that was Vicky this time. It wasn't just Vicky working for him this time, working for Doug this time. She was working for him before when she stole it from Ray and got in her accident. So there's that. So the question is, like I said, it was Tom working with him, or was Tom just on his own? And then at some point in that time, like between, because that time I was like, why is she looking at them? Aren't they partners in this whole thing? No, she kind of went off on her own, and I'm sure Doug contacted her and be like, hey, you work for me now? So I don't know, something like that maybe. But the thing is, Sam is, once she gets her claws on you, she's not willing to let go, especially because what this evidence is and what it means to her. She's definitely holding a grudge. Once again, for the third, maybe even fourth or fifth time, what she did to Tom. So I'm scared for Ray. I'm scared for the entire Donovan family, because the last thing you want is someone like Sam to be your enemy, and she's going to come at you with everything she's got. I mean, granted, to be fair, most people that kind of put Ray in that type of situation, things don't end up well for them either. So it's kind of like, but considering her position and her profile, it's like dealing with her won't be the easiest thing. I'm very curious to see how this whole like Sam situation ends. I mean, we literally only have like 2 episodes left in the season, so I'm curious. And also, like, after all this was said and done, like, Ray found out about what happened to Bunchy. Him and Terry, like, you know, helped Bunchy get his money back, interestingly enough. And also, Bunchy finds out about the whole Terry, Ray, and Abby situation. He never actually says anything, though. He just looks at him like, oh, like, just because I think it just hit him, like, whoa, that's some heavy stuff. But he never actually comments on it. So I don't know where Bunchy stands on that situation. Does he side more with Ray? Does he side more with Terry? Because ultimately, when it's all said and done, I think it's more so the fact of the matter is that, you know, his 2 brothers are fighting, you know, and it's like, because even he was like, yeah, either both of you are going, or I'm just going to go by myself, because he's going, you know, he needs both his bros by his side, because it's actually something that his mom had brought up to him a long time ago, like when him and his bros were fighting. It's like, do know that no matter what happens, your brothers and your sister would know you more than anyone, because they're there with you since the day you were born. They've been there from the beginning. So essentially don't let BS kind of get in the way, because these are the most crucial people in your life, or your siblings. So don't let your BS kind of get in your way. So granted, Ray and Terry still have problems, which is another thing that's kind of speculating in the back of my mind. I'm like, this might be a time to end up killing off Terry too, just because him and Ray are on such odds, and it's probably going to be a situation of Terry dying and Ray never getting a chance to apologize or forgive him. I feel like that might be it, or it might get the chance, but not to the very, very end. So it might coincide with the Sam situation, might be something else that popped up this season that kind of leads to that. I mean, Sam seems like the biggest threat so far this season, but dealing with the whole like situation with Acid Man, I can only assume it's like, because like, especially because was it Bunchy that kind of went and, the Bunchy or Terry or Ray, like one of them opened up his bathroom and there's all this stuff. So it's like, he's like super high. He was probably like cooking, like he was, you know, getting his Breaking Bad on or something like that. Because dude seemed like he was out of his mind. Like the reason why he just because I was wondering, I was like, oh, is he crucial to the story now? Because last time we saw him, he was a little crazy. I was like, oh, maybe he's nope, still crazy this episode. So I think he's just high out of his mind. I don't know. I guess just because it was Jake Busey, I was like, oh, they're gonna do something. I was like, oh no, he's taken care of. So I mean, I wasn't expecting it to kind of be like that for Bunchy to get his settlement money back. I mean, it's kind of interesting too, because even Terry was like, it's just money. And Bunchy's like, it's just money? That money is from how long I had to wait for. I had to get in front of a whole bunch of people and tell what that priest did to me, so there's that, as a victim and that side of things, but also because what that money represents. It's like, that's the only good thing I've done. That's the only good thing I have that I can leave for my family, so it's like, so I knew the family part of it, but it's like, yeah, I never thought about the fact is that there is that aspect of like, yeah, Bunchy had to be open about like what happened to him. And that, that's money represents like, it is quote unquote compensation for what happened to him and stuff like that, restitution or whatever. So, which we do see that Teresa's back and it seems like everything's okay, which once again, I'm surprised considering the whole like showing up drunk thing, getting locked up and not being there to pick up his daughter. Well, to be fair, like it was supposed to be Mickey who did it, but Mickey was in the back of a car during that whole Avi situation. So I just thought he'd kind of suffer some, like, I didn't know, I guess, like, maybe Teresa was called, like, during some point in that time, but I don't know, like I said, it seems like everything's okay, but we will just kind of have to wait and see on that, but I was just actually kind of surprised, but then, ultimately, I'm sure she's, like, just happy to have Bunchy back home, he's alive and everything. She's probably got a lot of questions, like, why'd you get shot? Yeah, I got my settlement money stolen and everything, which I'm still thinking about the whole Duquesne situation. I'm like, oh, man, that's so sad that things, like I said, because him and Bunchy were buddying it up, and it's just like, oh man, going just like that, man. It sucks. That would have been cool to have like Bunchy have like a buddy like that, Like I said, overall, another great episode. I'm so interested to see what goes down in the next episode. Like I said, 2 episodes left this season, and I'm literally have no idea how this is all going to play out. Like I said, I've thrown out my ideas, but I'm so excited to see how it all does play out with this whole situation. Because now this whole, because I caught a tiny bit of the preview because Ray finds out about Bridget being arrested. No surprise there. But this is actually going to be the first time, actually probably being physically in the same place. Like I said, I don't know how long it was after, Ray got arrested the last time they seen each other, whether it was that was the last time or what. They've talked before, sure, but they've never been in the same place because she's been in New York the entire time. She only came back home for the whole doctor situation, so... And Mickey and Terry still never found, I don't think Mickey and Terry ever, not Terry, Daryl, neither one of them ever found the Bridget game home, I doubt. But nevertheless, so, especially because this is going to be a situation where Ray kind of has to take responsibility because what happened with Bridget only happened because of him and his need to save Abby. And it's kind of something interesting that, Terry kind of brought up earlier in episode 2 was when their mom got sick, it was kind of the same thing of Ray kind of had to just learn to just not trying to control everything. And it was ultimately what happened was her decision, Abby's decision, because he knows that Ray wouldn't be able to make that choice. He'd never be able to let her go. But ultimately like I said, it's a give and take situation. Like I said, it's a situation that leaves me very mixed because ultimately, yes, it was Abby's decision, but at the same time, the thing is, you did it behind Ray's back. That's kind of what makes this situation bad. But you were just trying to be a good brother-in-law. Plus, like I said, the fact is Terry most likely had feelings for Abby too. So there was love behind that decision. It's not like it was an easy decision. He was very against it at first, So, but he felt like he owed it to her because this is her choice after all. So, like I said, we will just have to wait and see what goes on in the next episode. But really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.